Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome to Tesla Stock News, brought to you by Oregon Cash Flow Pro. My name is James Barber, here to help you maximize your cash flow. In today's news, we've got possible announcement on Q4 earnings report. When is that going to happen? ARK is creating a new space exploration ETF. What could that mean as far as SpaceX is concerned? And we've got a Giga Texas rumor to address. So, to kick us off, Q4 earnings. This is where the excitement is at. Gary Black on Twitter, always on the ball, says we should get an announcement of Tesla Q4 earnings date today or tomorrow. This was yesterday. We didn't get it yesterday. We're expecting it today. Assuming it's the last Wednesday of the month, so January 27th. Last year, the last Wednesday was the 29th. The announced date themselves have generally been positive catalysts. On-time earnings dates imply good results, kicks off countdown, etc. Over the past year, Tesla's outperformed NDX, that's NASDAQ, on average 7.9% versus 2.3% in the 2 days following the announcement of the earnings dates. Last quarter, Q3 earnings, was the exception, where Tesla ran up 3.8% in the 2 days post-announcement date versus NASDAQ 4.7%. And then he gives us a little picture, which I didn't clip separately, but you can kind of see the numbers on the right and the days after the announcements. So, really good news. Be prepared for that. I expect to see a spike, same as usual, because when we get the earnings date, volatility is going to go up. Options prices will likely go up. In addition to Gary Black, Dr. Total Babe on Twitter also noted Tesla's expected to announce earnings date tomorrow, and it's expected to be January 27th. Last quarter, Tesla announced the earnings date on 10/8, which was a Thursday, and the stock ran up for 5 consecutive days. Maybe due to the algorithms or traders' anticipations. So, 5 consecutive days, that's pretty cool. Tesla tends to do that. We go on a run. So pay attention to those earnings dates, folks, especially when we're expected to have another record earnings. Now, you'll notice Tesla was down. Oh, I didn't get the pictures up for that. Tesla was down in the aftermarket. We ended the day yesterday at 854.41. Tesla immediately dropped in the aftermarket into the 840 range, traded overnight, hit a high of like back at 847, and now it's at 842, and we've got 24 minutes till market open. There was a recall. There was a recall that was announced, NHTSA. The recall is on the display screens and some of the chips used in the display screens in older Model S and Model X's. Now, this is not something that was new. Gary Black addressed this. I go to all my news. I get all my news from Gary Black, or at least I affirm news that I'm hearing. Gary says that this investigation was old news. The NHTSA investigation was opened back in June of 2020. It applies to 2012 to 2018 Model S and 2016 to 2018 Model X touchscreens. The 159,000 vehicles is the same as was reported back in June. So why is this coming out the day before we expect an earnings announcement? I'm guessing people like to get some cheap stock before it runs up for the next 5 days. He goes on, he says, this news is 6 months old. Don't you think if it was a significant expense, PwC would have made Tesla call it out in an 8K or Q2 or Q3 earnings or the 10Qs? So the reaction, he thinks, is kind of crazy. Even if this were new news and every one of those 158,000 touch screens had to be replaced at a cost of, say, $5,000 per touch screen, that would represent a one-time after-tax cost and a hit to the stock of about 67 cents per share. Tesla was down $8 per share in the after hours on that. He says, get a grip, everybody. So take that into consideration. This is also touch screens that Tesla was offering to upgrade to all of these customers for $2,500 each. So it's likely not even a $5,000 expense. if they had to replace all of them. Now, moving on, we've got ARKX. Sawyer Merritt, another good follow. Tesla Twitter is amazing for the news. ARK Invest has filed with the SEC yesterday to create a new space exploration ETF named ARKX. Gotta love the name. The fund will invest in domestic and foreign equity securities of companies that are engaged in the fund's investment theme of space exploration and innovation. Now, the name ARKX kind of makes you think of SpaceX, right? And so a lot of people are wondering, is SpaceX going to be a part of it? The advisor defines space exploration as leading, enabling, or benefiting from technologically enabled products and or services that occur beyond the surface of the Earth. And he finishes up by saying the fund's portfolio is expected to contain 40 to 55 common stocks, domestic and ADRs, that are conviction weighted. In every tweet and all the news that I saw around this, all of the buzz was about SpaceX. Can SpaceX be included? One of the best responses that I noted was somebody actually clipped some of what the fund says it does. So somebody asked, can they do private placements, i.e. SpaceX? And Robin Wood quoted the fund, substantially all of the fund's assets will be invested in equity securities, including common stocks, partnership interests, business trust shares, and other equity investments or ownership interests in business enterprises. Technically, it seems that they could. So, SpaceX does offer shares. There are shares of SpaceX out there. We know that Barron's has a fund that has SpaceX shares. Google owns some of SpaceX. Alphabet owns some of SpaceX. There was another major company that owns a part of SpaceX. So presumably, these shares, because it's a private company, these shares have to be offered from SpaceX. So they get to choose who gets to buy into it. We know that Kathy Woods has a good relationship with Elon Musk. And one of the things I was looking at said Elon Musk was looking to sell some of his personal shares. So there may be some shares that become available from SpaceX to ARKX, and I think that would be awesome. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that, and we will keep you apprised of anything that we hear. All right, let's see. I had another topic. Oh yes, there was a Giga Texas rumor. Stumbled across this in a comment section on YouTube. Somebody had pulled it from Reddit. Said it's an important rumor that you should be aware of. This was on Tesla Daily's comment section. Giga Texas structure is going to be completely done in 6 weeks. He edited to clarify, this is the incentive goal. His buddy works as CM at Giga Texas. End of March is structural build-out. End of June is supposedly when test production will begin for the Model Y. He says Cybertruck limited production is before the end of the year, but won't scale above 3,000 units a week until June 2022. These are all in-house goals. And then he edited again. They are still building out tooling for Cybertruck. He says, his buddy says, unless you ordered the first night, you might be waiting until 2023. Ouch. Ouch. That's a long wait. I think my Cybertruck, I think I'm about the 100,000 reservation holder. So if they get 3,000 a week going, I should see mine sometime in 2022. I've got the, and then of course, depends on which models they're targeting first as well. I think I'm number 100,000, but that might be just with the tri-motor Cybertrucks. Can't remember. But anyways, pretty cool news to know that that's coming out. They're going to have that structural build completed soon. We're talking excitement. When these things get completed, these are all catalysts. There was one other note. There was one other thing to note, and that was possibility of a credit upgrade. And with the credit upgrade, Gary Black says, a lot of chatter in credit markets that Moody's could upgrade Tesla to the equivalent of S&P's BB rating. Moody's at B2, 2 below the S&P. Given 2021 leverage ratios, Operating metrics and massive equity to debt all imply investment grade status by year's end. So that's big news for Tesla. Anytime you get a credit upgrade, makes the underlying strength in your stock that much better. Cheap, you always have access to cheap money. That's basically what the good credit ratings mean. So, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's move over to our stock watch. And we're going to start off. We're going to look at the daily chart here on the right. We've got Webull up here. We've got our 1 minute chart on the left, 5 minute chart on the right typically, but right now we're going to start off with the daily chart. And we're going to look at, these were our lines that we had drawn in yesterday. We've got our trend lines. Yesterday, we stayed right inside the trend line that we drew on the daily chart. Dipped under it just a little bit if we jump into the 4 hour or the 1 hour chart. Now, yesterday we thought chance to come down to 820. We went down to 830, 831. Trading mostly sideways. We might have hit 840, maybe between 840 and 850. Chance to hit 860. Well, we did hit 860 and we ended the day at 854, and then it immediately dropped into the 840s. So we were right on target there, and you can see it stayed right inside these trend lines. So for today, we also have the support and resistance here. Support down here, resistance up here. So we stayed there. We stayed within those, but you can see this trend line here, we've been respecting this trend line since way down here. Since right before Christmas. So we're on, that's when we had to readjust these trend lines, right before Christmas. So that's a long time in this trend. The only time we broke out of it, we broke above. Okay, we broke above it. It's possible that we're going to be going up today. We've got MACD is on the upswing on the daily chart. Stochastic is pointing down, but it's still in the overbought. So this could turn back up. RSI, still in the overbought, and that's up. So that's looking good. On our 1 minute chart, RSI is up. Stochastic is up, down a little bit. And MACD is turned over. So coming out of the gate, I don't know, we're gapping down. I expect that we'll close that gap on the way up. Thursdays are usually good days. So it looks like, here is our trading day today. It looks like if we can jump up, we could end up between 850 and 894. So that's between these two trend lines, 850, 894. Now if it breaks down, we still have our support here at 820 that we're not likely to get through. But if it goes below that, our next trend line was way down here at 750. I don't see that happening now, especially now if we get that earnings announcement. So let's see the 1 minute chart, or the 1 hour chart. 1 hour chart, we're overnight now, we broke down below that trend line. So I'm looking to see us get back up inside that trend line once people realize, oh, the recall, no big deal, and we've got record earnings coming up. People are going to start buying. That's my expectation. MACD is in the down. Stochastic down, but above 50. And RSI is pointing down, and it is just under 50. So I expect to see those turn around. That's the hour chart, so it can change around after the first hour, possibly during the first hour. We've got 11 minutes till market opens. Back to the 5 minute chart. Everything is still pointing down as Tesla is currently trading at 842, and people are still selling. People are still selling. What are they panicking about? What do you guys think? Let me know what you think.
Now go maximize your cash flow.